nights, truths on the run. Buried secrets were the ones who dig them up for fun. Headstones in the graveyard where stories reside. We bring back headlines, no place to hide. Try to cover it, but we'll find the trace. Shadows and whispers, no escape from this place. Headstones and headlines, where the truth collides. We'll expose the lies. There's nowhere to hide. From the dirt to the grit, we'll make it clear. True crime uncovered, it's why we're here. The headline tells a tale of deceit. From the grave to the page, the truth reads. Cold cases, long leads, nothing gets by. We turn the stones, leave no questions why. You can run, but we're hard on the trail. Every secret's revealed, no matter how stale. Headstones and headlines, where the truth collides. We'll expose the lies. There's nowhere to hide. From the dirt to the grit, we'll make it clear. True crime uncovered, it's why we're here. In the dark of the night, we bring it to light. Every crime, every lie, every fight. No stone left unturned, no truth left unsaid. We write the headlines from the graves of the dead. Headstones and headlines, where the truth collides. We'll expose the lies. There's nowhere to hide. From the dirt to the grit, we'll make it clear. True crime uncovered, it's why we're here. Headstones and headlines, where the stories remain. We dig 'em up, we feel their pain. The truth is out, the case is closed, but our search for justice never slows.
Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. I kept thinking today was Thursday all day, and how disappointing is it when you keep thinking it's Friday tomorrow, but it's only Thursday? I think having break next week is also messing with what day I think it is, because I want spring break to be here like yesterday. This week has just been exhausting, absolutely exhausting. I see everyone clapping. What are we clapping for? Well, I see clapping and peace signs. So thanks for being here on short notice. I wasn't sure if I was going to go live because I was just tired. So I took a nap and I feel a little more refreshed. And I really wanted to talk about this tragedy in the Dominican Republic. And there are updates on the Oscar Hernandez case, I am very thankful to one of my subscribers, NY, which I always say New York, but I know what it really means now. I'm still going to say New York, who was able to find the criminal complaint for me on Mario Aquino, is it Garcia? And there's some people coming forward in that that case. So we have some updates on that. And then the last story I have is a cute one. It's cute. So thanks for being here, Nanny and Pookie. Nanny says, so glad you're covering DR tragedy. I haven't seen a lot on it yet. Just caught a bit yesterday. It's terrifying. There's over 100 people. I believe it was 123 as of just before I went live. 123 people lost their lives, and over 100 were injured and rescued. The venue had, they said, upwards of 300 people inside. So, it was a pretty decent crowd. Nanny says it's beautiful out. Not in New York. I think the high today was 39 or 40, and the wind died down. But yesterday it was so cold. I think it felt like 20 degrees. I can't remember the exact number, but it was freezing. Our high was like 36. It was awful. Absolutely awful. Spring needs to get here. We even had snow flurries yesterday. It's like, come on. I'm done with winter. SG says, just finished cooking chicken and stuffing bake. That sounds good. I actually made pierogies. I made pierogies in the air fryer, and I'm not sure. They were good. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like the air fryer, even though I used olive oil to kind of coat them, they still kind of got a little crunchy. So I'll have to just try again. Hey, Seclusion, how's it going? Rainy and dreary. Yeah. Just cold, but hopefully it'll warm up. One other thing I wanted to mention, because I know many of you follow some of the drama things. I know Sinner, I believe, made a community post, but as an update, the FOIA did come back from B's police department, and no reports have been filed on myself. So, nice try. They could not find anything with my government name in it. So, there's that. Yes. And Sinner is also going to go live about it as well, because he has some information in regards to him. So, yes. All right. So we're going to get started. I have a few videos, and I have an article from the New York Times, as usual, because I just love the New York Times. And then we'll get into updates on the murder of Oscar Hernandez. All right. Oops. Thought I already had it there.
We're following a developing story out of the Dominican Republic. Police there say at least 27 people are dead and more than 130 people hospitalized after a roof of a nightclub collapsed. It happened early this morning in the capital city of Santo Domingo.
Here you can see video from inside the club taken just moments before the roof caved in. As we speak, authorities say the crews are still digging through the rubble, searching for possible survivors. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson is following this for us. Priscilla, it's still unclear what exactly caused this collapse, but that investigation is getting started.
And so this news clip was from yesterday. So the death toll has risen by nearly 100.
What are you hearing from authorities?
Right. So not immediately clear what actually caused this. And as you saw in that video, at one point you have a band and this merengue singer on the stage performing, and the next second it just goes black and you hear the screams and it is chaos. So it doesn't appear that folks in there got any sort of warning that this was about to come down. And of course, investigators right now are focused.
And I don't believe any of the clips that I chose to use have the video footage of the roof collapsing. There wasn't anything graphic, however, just knowing what was happening was enough for me. So just the magnitude, I hadn't realized at first how big this venue was, and just seeing the full scale of what happened, just devastating. Hey, Angie. Hey, Narcos. How's it going? Long time no see.
On the search for survivors. They've got nearly 24 different teams on the ground, plus volunteers that are working to try to find anyone in that rubble who may still be alive, working in 2-hour shifts to try to get anyone out that they can. And I should note one detail that we do know about what happened is that the band that was performing, their manager says that this all happened. They took the stage just after midnight, and about an hour in is when this collapse happened. So getting some information about the timing of this all, but still no word on what exactly caused it.
And it makes me wonder as well as how often they have to do inspections with, buildings, because I feel like the structure was compromised long before this event. It just happened that, it was that one little thread that broke that caused the whole thing to come down.
Priscilla, what have we learned so far about the victims here?
Yeah, so tragically, we know 27 people have died. We know that one of them is Nelsie Cruz. She is a governor there, but also the sister of former MLB player Nelson Cruz. And as for the band on the stage, their manager is saying that the singer, Ruby Perez, was pulled out of the rubble alive, but unfortunately, their saxophonist was killed. So certainly a lot of just tragedy and despair on the ground there. And meanwhile, you also have more than 130 people who were transported to hospitals. We did just receive a list that a number of those folks are in stable condition, but no word overall on everyone's condition. And of course, they are still searching for additional survivors and folks in that rubble.
Priscilla Thompson, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, I forgot to edit that video. Seclusion, this is in the Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic.
Things.
We're following a...
Yeah, SG, I feel like it was, I don't know. It just makes you wonder what would cause an entire roof to just cave in.
Developing story out of the Dominican Republic. Police there say at least 27 people are dead and more than 130 people hospitalized after a roof of a nightclub collapsed. It happened early this morning in the capital city of Santo Domingo.
Here you can see video from inside the club taken just moments before the roof caved in.
Okay, so I was mistaken. This one has part of the video. So trigger warning. Do I have my banner up? I do. Oh, but I don't have the correct banner up. Give me one momento. There we go. Click the wrong one. So if you would like, look away and then look back.
As we speak, authorities say the crews are still digging through the rubble, searching for possible survivors. NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson is following this for us. Priscilla, it's still unclear what exactly caused this collapse, but that investigation is getting started. What are you hearing from authorities?
Right. So not immediately clear what actually caused this. And as you saw in that video, at one point you have a band and this merengue singer on the stage performing, and the next second it just goes black and you hear the screams and it is chaos. So it doesn't appear that folks in there got any sort of warning that this was about to
And I feel like them not knowing what was coming was probably a blessing in disguise, because especially those who, lost their lives, they hopefully did not suffer. It's those who, survived and who are injured that are going to have a long road to recovery.
Come down. And of course, investigators right now are focused on the search for survivors. They've got nearly 24 different teams on the ground, plus volunteers that are working to try to find anyone in that rubble who may still be alive, working in 2-hour shifts to try to get anyone out that they can. And I should note one detail that we do know about what happened is that the band that was performing, their manager says that this all happened. They took the stage just after midnight, and about an hour in is when this collapse happened. So getting some information about the timing of this all, but still no word on what exactly caused it.
Priscilla, what have we learned so far about the victims here?
Yeah, so tragically, we know 27 people have died. We know that one of them is Nelsie Cruz. She is a governor there, but also the sister.
What in the world? Why is this playing the same thing that we just watched? All right, hold on a second. What is happening here? Somehow these got out of order, I think.
A heartfelt vigil is taking place.
Oh, they didn't. I wonder, why did it do that? I'm so sorry. I was like, wait a minute, we just listened to this. Right, but I hit the arrow over. Okay, well, well, that's annoying. That's annoying. All right, well, we heard it again. I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. All right, moving on.
But we begin tonight with the climbing death toll in the Dominican Republic after a roof collapsed at a popular nightclub. Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson. Crews are using heavy machinery and drones as they desperately search for any survivors. And tonight, Dominican authorities say 79 people are dead, more than 150 injured. Among them, a world-famous merengue singer who was just performing here in New York days ago, an MLB pitcher, and a New York-based fashion designer. Ali Bauman went to the Dominican enclave in Washington Heights, where New Yorkers are coming to terms with what happened.
Rescue crews frantically searched through the wreckage of a historic nightclub in the Dominican Republic Tuesday. Authorities say overnight the roof of Jet Set collapsed during a crowded concert in Santo Domingo, killing at least 79 people and injuring more than 100 others.
We've been calling our relatives and friends in the Dominican Republic to let them know that we are here to support them, that they are not alone.
Of those killed, retired Mets and Yankees pitcher Octavio Dotel, as well as 69-year-old Ruby Perez. The famous merengue singer was on stage at the time.
It was devastating because I knew him personally. I've been at so many of his concerts.
He's been an icon to all Dominicans. He was called La Voz Más Alta del Merengue, the highest voice in merengue music. That was his honor, his title, because he's leaving us a lot of great memories, a lot of great music.
On Friday, Perez performed at La Nueva España in Upper Manhattan.
He was so friendly, so nice person, and now we lost him.
In Spanish, she invited the crowd to join him Monday for his performance in the DR.
The Jet Set, that nightclub, it was...
It's so sad. So, here he was in New York performing one day, and the next, he's not. You never know.
It's a legend.
Cirilo Moronta says he had to cancel his Monday flight from New York to Santo Domingo at the last minute.
Lucky that I didn't get to go because I'll probably have been there last night.
But his friend, Harlem fashion designer Martin Polanco, was there.
Very friendly, very happy, very joyful guy. And, and I'm really, really sad.
Officials in the Dominican Republic say it is too early to determine why the roof fell. Rescue crews are working in shifts around the clock to clear the rubble and search for any survivors. In Washington Heights, Ali Bauman, CBS News, New York.
So many families in despair tonight. We're thinking of all of them.
So sad. So with that, I was just curious. I haven't heard of Martin Polanco, so I found this article from Hola. We'll just take a look at this quick because I had not heard of him. So the Dominican Republic is reeling after a horrifying nightclub collapse at Jet Set in Santo Domingo claimed at least 113 lives and injured over 150 people. Among those who tragically did not make it was fashion designer Martin Polanco, a trailblazer best known for his elevated take on the classic Guayabera shirt. What was supposed to be a lively performance by merengue legend Ruby Perez turned into an unimaginable disaster when the roof of the iconic Jet Set nightclub came crashing down mid-show. Chaos, screams, darkness. In the hours that followed, many were reported missing, including Polanco. So this was designer Martin Polanco walks the runway of the Spring Colors fashion show at Casino Madrid on November 7th, 2024 in Madrid. Sadly, his family has since confirmed the heartbreaking news. Martin Polanco is among the victims. Authorities are investigating what led to the collapse, and President Luis Abinader has declared 3 days of national mourning. Rescue teams are still combing through debris as the country mourns one of the darkest moments in its entertainment history. Martin Polanco wasn't just any designer. Known for turning the traditional Guayabera into a global fashion statement, he brought Caribbean flair to red carpets and presidential wardrobes. He dressed big names like Daddy Yankee, Rafi Pina, and President Abinader. But his journey wasn't easy. Polanco lost his father at just 12 years old. From then on, he and his brother hustled down the streets, selling clothes and slowly building the family's brand, Los Hermanos Polanco. When the Dominican Republic cracked down on the import of used clothing, Polanco pivoted. That's when his passion for fashion truly ignited. All right, and I'm going to share this. I just wanted to read a little bit about him. That's very interesting to me. If you wanted to read the rest of that to learn more about Martin, there is the link. And again, that was from Hola magazine. Yeah, I know it. Definite tragedy. And this just shows like the magnitude, like the entire roof. I mean, there's this small section here, but I mean, nobody was safe. Nobody.
A heartfelt vigil is taking place in Alapata in honor of the victims. That's where we find CBS News Miami's Maribel Rodriguez. And Maribel, many in South Florida have very close ties in the Dominican Republic.
That's right, Lauren, especially here in Alapata. It's a predominantly Dominican neighborhood. As you can imagine, they're absolutely heartbroken. As you can see, many are starting to gather here at this local park to pray and to honor the victims who died in just that horrific tragedy. I was speaking with some of the people here. They actually knew some of the victims who lost their lives. And earlier today, we spoke with one of the survivors over the phone who managed to make it out. But once he was out, he went back in to help some of the people still trapped inside.
It was shocking, it was sad, it was obviously something unexpected, something that obviously has impacted all of us.
The Dominican community is in mourning.
Oh my gosh, that's one angle that I haven't seen. So I'm guessing this is part of the building as well. This is the outside wall. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow.
After more than 120 people were killed after a roof collapse at a nightclub in Santo Domingo, the capital of the Dominican Republic, Tuesday morning. Richard Mancebo's friends were among the victims.
Thus far, it was 4 of them, and 2 have been confirmed deceased.
The roof caved in more than an hour after beloved Dominican singer Ruby Perez hit the stage. He posted this video on social media just minutes before his performance. He too was one of the victims who died in the rubble, as did former MLB player Octavio Dotel and Tony Blanco. We spoke with Luis Garavelli by phone, who was at the nightclub when the tragedy occurred. Who were you with?
I was with some friends. Some of them died. Others are still missing.
Garavelli was fortunate enough to make it out alive and help rescue others still trapped inside.
We managed to open 2 back doors and climb out of the rubble.
Wow.
Once we made it out safely, we went back inside to help rescue people that were still alive, but it was very difficult.
Rescue crews have been working around the clock, desperately searching for survivors, while family members and friends unite in solidarity with the Dominican people.
Dominicans, we're very content people. We always like music, we like to be happy, we like to be in a good mode, but right now everybody is sad. And this has brought us even more together and appreciate life and come together in faith.
And back out live, we're here at Juan Pablo Duarte Park here in Alapata. As you can see, not only are Dominicans gathering here, I've been speaking with a lot of the people here. There's also Venezuelans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans. They say they're all coming together in solidarity with the Dominican people, again, to pray and to honor the victims who lost their lives. And as we speak right now in the Dominican Republic, there in Santo Domingo, rescue crews continue to search through the rubble for survivors. As for the cause of the collapse, that is still unknown. We're live in Alapata. Maribel Rodriguez, CBS News, Miami.
Alrighty, so we're going to go to the New York Times article. And it doesn't look like it's too long. Sometimes their article is a little bit longer than expected. I know it. Thank goodness for the first responders. And, you know, thinking about things that are daunting, that would be a daunting task. You have, you know, thousands of pounds of concrete, and I would assume steel. And like, where do you start? It's I can't imagine doing it, but thankfully there are people who can. So a Dominican club that drew bold-faced face names became a graveyard in a flash. Well, that's quite the headline, NYT. Holy crap. That was a pretty big club, too. Jesus. Jet Set, an aging disco just a block from the sea in Santo Domingo, was the place to be on Monday nights. And this Monday was no exception. A collection of the country's bold-faced names, from bankers to retired Major League Baseball players to politicians, were eager to kick up their heels and party, even on a school night, to see a concert by Ruby Perez, who was known as the, quote, loudest voice in merengue. Hundreds of people paid $32 for tickets to see the renowned Dominican entertainer who had recently celebrated his 69th birthday. Live music Mondays at the Jet Set were something of a tradition in the Dominican capital, where a penchant for enjoying life and good music helped the nightclub thrive with locals and tourists alike. Jet Set was a symbol, said Jose Antonio Rodriguez, a singer and former Dominican Minister of Culture. You have to understand, the Dominican is a partier. They like to get together with friends, and Jet Set was a place for that. Oh, so this is a picture I haven't seen before. So this is the outside of the club, and that's where the collapse was, back here. Gosh. That decades-old Monday night ritual ended in catastrophe this week when the building's roof came crashing down in the middle of Mr. Perez's performance. Videos show him singing and dancing while people wondered aloud what was falling from the ceiling. Then a thunderous boom brought the show to a calamitous halt. The tragedy has claimed at least 124 lives so far, including Mr. Perez's, devastating a nation better known for sandy beaches and fast dance moves. The disco-turned-mass graveyard is now being called Ground Zero. The victims included the owner of one of the country's most prestigious banks, his wife and sister, whose recent wedding made the cover of a local lifestyle magazine. The groom, who also died, was the son of the nation's Minister of Public Works. Oh my God, that's awful. Nelsie Cruz, the governor of the province of Monte Cristi, was among the first confirmed dead, and two former Major League Baseball players, Octavio Dotel and Tony Blanco, were also killed. Pedro Martinez, a Hall of Fame pitcher, said in a social media post that several of his family members were still in the club's rubble. Now Dominicans are lining up to donate blood as hundreds of rescue workers in yellow hard hats and fluorescent jackets sift through the rubble to find survivors or bodies. Teams from Puerto Rico, Mexico, and Israel arrived to help. Yeah, huge building. The authorities have not said how many people were at the concert, but said they are, quote, triangulating the number of tickets sold with the number of people in the hospitals and at the morgue to figure out how many people might still be trapped in the rubble. Rescuers spotted 20 additional bodies in the ruins, but by late Wednesday afternoon had not yet been able to remove them all. After more than 150 rescues, no one has been brought out alive since Tuesday afternoon. Carlos Santos, a television and radio producer in Santo Domingo, called the disaster the biggest blow in the history of the Dominican Republic's entertainment industry. With Jet Set, they bury the capital's tradition of musical group performances. At the moment, there is no club that has the history, the trajectory, or the time that Jet Set had. Jet Set opened in the 1970s at a different location and moved some years ago to a former movie theater a block from the Melicon, the seawall. It could seat up to 700 people, a capacity that rose to 1,000 if tables were removed. It was known as an upscale hangout for the city's elite business and political class, where top artists performed. It was iconic, recalled Rosa Rabin, a South Florida singer who used to perform there. There was no group that didn't go there. A rescue worker resting as others continue the search for survivors. And it looks like he's laying on like a piece of cardboard. I mean, gosh. But she will especially miss Mr. Perez, whom she described as a charismatic entertainer with no ego. He was a very important figure in our music and our culture. He was part of our culture. Mr. Perez started his career as a lead vocalist for the famed merengue band leader Wilfrido Vargas and had recently begun singing Christian music. In the videos Mr. Santos saw, he said his friend appeared more cheerful than usual Monday night. He looked more lively, more enthusiastic, and with more joy. He was even dancing in a way that he normally wouldn't. His face looked really pleasant, happy. He was the only act performing Monday at Jet Set, which was owned by a prominent family in the entertainment industry in Santo Domingo. Through a representative, the owners declined to answer questions. To you, mothers, fathers, siblings, children, and loved ones of those affected, you can count on us, the owner, Antonio Espaillat, said in a slickly produced video posted on social media. It's interesting that the New York Times said slickly produced. Very interesting choice of words. Everything we do now, every decision, every step has one purpose: to live up to your pain and be with you. The people who lived near the nightclub said they had been battling the owners over noise complaints and smoke from the club's generators for years, but said they had found the family's political influence and connections too difficult to beat. But following the deadly roof collapse, politicians and reporters are interested in their problems, said Isabel Garcia, a neighbor who said the music and the generators that were used to power the club kept the neighborhood up all night. When we were knocking on doors for them to come to a protest we held against them, they said, "Jet set, untouchable." The noise even shook furniture in their homes. Neighbors tried filing complaints with authorities but saw few results. She and other neighbors said large air conditioning condensers had been placed on the roof after recent renovations, making the situation more dangerous. The lights reached the beds and the vibration reached the windows, said Lourdes Artias, who lived behind the club. The only night we rested was Tuesdays, when the club was closed. The authorities said it was too early to determine the cause of the disaster. Oh, and that's it. So that's interesting that the one woman had said large air conditioning condensers had been placed on the roof after recent renovations, which is very interesting to me. Very interesting. All right, let's see. So Nanny says, it sounds like the death toll will increase if they are still searching. Yes. Probably a lot unaccounted for. Right, and I mean, I don't know, normally at least, I think of going to like Broadway shows or even music concerts. They like scan your ticket. So they have a count, so to speak, of what number of people have actually gone through the gates. But it appears that they don't necessarily do that at this club because they're trying to figure out how many people were actually there. All right, so that is the latest in regards to the tragedy in the Dominican Republic. We are going to change gears to Oscar Hernandez, who, if you're not aware of Oscar, he is a 13-year-old boy who was found deceased, and his soccer coach, who also is undocumented, is being charged with his murder. And just, oh, damn it, I knew that was going to happen. Hang on one second. I just got to get this back up. So, I have to thank my subscriber NY again, because they sent me several things that I was not able to find. So I am very grateful for that. This is from the Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles. And this is the information in regards to Mario Garcia Aquino, who is being charged with not only Oscar's death, but he is also being charged with an SA of a minor back in February 2024. So just over a year ago. All right, so let me add this back. There we go. And let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. So filing date was the 7th, which was Monday. That was when he appeared in court, or was supposed to. I believe they postponed his arraignment. He was arrested on April 2nd. And he is being charged with first count murder, or one count of murder, one count of murder engaged in another felony, 2 counts of assault with intent to R. And that was, so the first 2 counts are in regards to Oscar. The second 2 counts are in regards to the other boy that he assaulted. So, assault with intent, and then lewd act upon a child 14, and I don't know what this of, upon child 14 of, I think it's supposed to say or, a child 14 or 15 by person 10 years older. So that is the, oh, let's see what this is. I haven't looked at all these. Oh, so they have just the, okay, so he does have a public defender. And you know what? If he's not an American citizen, what rights should he have? Okay, so they did change the arraignment. The arraignment is now going to be on April 30th at 8:30 a.m. Yep, it was continued. That's what I thought. All right, so that's the 30th. No bail, which is very good. No bail. No bail. Oh, I didn't even notice, Nanny, that's what you put. Narcos had said most clubs in the Caribbean do not stop people from coming in. The clubs can be packed. Oh, packed where you can, I would assume that means you can't move or breathe. They're so packed. Oh, wow, Nanny, we have a cave around here, and they used to have bands play, but had to stop because it could compromise the structure of the cave. That makes sense, the vibration. Yeah, SG, for sure. We can interpret typos and spell check. Yep. Yep. Yep, and I got it, Narcos. Yep. All right, so, and I agree, Nanny, it's sick. This Mario character, you know, and the fact that he was a soccer coach, I'm going to put in quotes, and he hung out at the park where, you know, he was coaching, he must have had a team, and, you know, I just feel like there are probably tens of more victims of this guy.
A youth soccer coach is scheduled to face a judge charged with murdering a boy who played on a soccer team.
But that isn't the only crime he's being charged with or the only court appearance he's going to make. KCAL News reporter Amanda Sorrentino is live in Lancaster with the other charges he's facing.
Good morning. So we do expect Mario Garcia Aquino to be in court here in Lancaster in the next hour. We found out that he is on the bus right now to appear in court for the first time. And that is for a case from back in 2024, from February 22nd, where he is charged with one felony count of assault with the intent to commit a sexual offense on a 16-year-old boy in Palmdale. So for that case, then he will be transferred back downtown for the other cases that he is facing horrific allegations for, with murder and on top of that, child sexual abuse. So we have been learning more about the tragic death of that teen that went missing from the Valley last week. And we are learning more details about that. But we did speak to the family of that teen last night. Take a listen.
Esto es un mensaje para las madres para que no consiguen sus hijos con nadie.
That is Oscar Hernandez's mother saying to us Monday, this is a message for mothers to trust no one with your children. DA Nathan Hochman said the 13-year-old was killed in Lancaster on March 28th and said his 43-year-old soccer coach did it. Search teams found the boy's body off the side of a road in Oxnard last Wednesday. Hernandez's family says they reported him missing after they lost touch with him when he took a train from Sun Valley to meet the coach in Lancaster, who was then supposed to drive him home. The DA said they are not yet clear on how Hernandez was killed, but the charges include a special circumstance of murder during the commission or attempted commission of a lewd act with a child. According to authorities, Garcia Aquino was a travel youth soccer coach in the Sylmar area for the Hurricane Valley Boys Soccer Club. And the LA.
Okay, so there was a soccer club that he was affiliated with. At first, I thought, he was just kind of there and he said, oh, let's make a soccer team. So he was a traveling coach. Interesting.
The sheriff revealed they'd actually already been investigating Garcia Aquino for allegations of another child sexual assault from last year that I just mentioned, which he will be appearing in court for today. When pressed about the delay in filing charges in that case and whether it could have gotten him off the streets, the DA said this.
In every single case, we want justice to be as speedy as possible, but we got to get it right. And we have to make sure that at the time we end up charging someone, we have the evidence to prove it. So when we filed and got the arrest warrant on the earlier case, he was actually arrested. And unfortunately, he had committed this case as well.
The district attorney also added that they have added a new policy which will allow his prosecutors to explore the death penalty in this case. So Garcia Aquino is facing at least life without the possibility of parole up to the death penalty when it comes to just this case. The Hernandez family, they want Garcia Aquino to face the maximum punishment. Live in Lancaster, I'm Amanda Starrentino, KCAL News.
Let's see. Narcos said... Did he do the same thing to the other kid as well? No. So the other case from February 2024, that boy woke up and I guess he had also gone to the coach's house to spend the night. And when he woke up, he realized that he had been assaulted. So he let his parents know, at which time they went to law enforcement. Sinner had sent me, I think it's an NBC affiliate. I don't remember the guy's name, but he is doing a deep dive into different questions that, I have, like, why did it take so long for prosecutors to charge Aquino with the assault back in February 24, because if they had, it's possible that Oscar would still be alive. And like the DA said, they wanted to make sure they had the evidence. Yet at the same time, you didn't have the evidence, the day before you held him on unrelated charges to Oscar. It doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. And, you think how many other kids were affected by this douchebag? Like, oh, yeah, Sinner, you had mentioned that the other day. It makes sense. Like, how many, are other missing or... SG says, when this happened in our town, there were more boys from years ago that never reported. It's extremely embarrassing for a boy. I think for both. I mean, even females. I mean, when you think about how many sexual assaults are not reported because of, shame or humiliation, embarrassment, it's really sad. All right, so next one, okay, so this soccer coach accused of assaulting at least 2 other teens. So it appears that other children and their families are coming forward. which I hope they do, because as the sheriff had said, we don't care your status. We want to know if this man did something to you. You don't have to be afraid, because there's probably countless.
Right now at
Oh, wait, let me go back for a second. How tall was this guy? Shoot, my thing's in the way.
breaking new information about the soccer coach accused of murdering a 13-year-old boy. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Annabelle Sedano. NBC4's investigative reporter Eric Leonard joins us live in the newsroom with those details. Eric.
Hi there. Well, the soccer coach is expected to appear in court any time now to
Oh, I think this is the guy. Sinner can confirm, but I think this is the guy. What's his name? Leonard. Something Leonard.
court any time now to answer to those charges that allege he murdered 13-year-old Oscar Omar Hernandez and assaulted two other teenage boys, one in 2024, now another we've learned in 2022. The LA County District Attorney announced those.
Oh, wait. Okay, so let me go back to, oh my gosh. Okay, so let me share this again. It totally went over my head, because the charges that Aquino was being held on was the case from February 2024. This is from 2022. I didn't even notice that. December 2022. So that's okay. Interesting. Okay, that's him. When I saw him, I'm like, wait, that looks like the guy in the video.
Charges yesterday against 43-year-old Mario Edgardo Garcia Aquino. One count of first-degree murder for the teen's death, including a special circumstance allegation that the murder happened during a sexual assault, and that could lead to a sentence of life without parole. Another count for the alleged sexual assault of a 16-year-old boy in the Antelope Valley in February 2024. And then this new added charge filed today, the sexual assault of a 14 or 15-year-old boy that police say took place at Garcia Aquino's former home in Sylmar. Oscar Hernandez was reported missing March 30th. He was found off a road in Oxnard April 6th.
And so he was reported missing on the 30th. He had traveled on the 28th by train to Aquino's home when his family tried to get a hold of Oscar. Aquino told them he couldn't come to the phone because his hands were covered in paint. First red flag, because there's speakerphone. There's, oh, let me just bring the phone to Oscar so he can talk with you. And then his story just kind of kept getting stranger and stranger. He couldn't remember where he dropped Oscar off. He didn't remember if it was the morning or if it was light out or dark out. I mean, just playing games that are not appropriate.
Second. The timeline here has raised some troubling questions for Oscar's family. They asked us last night, why didn't authorities take action to arrest the soccer coach sooner? And would Oscar still be alive if that coach had been prosecuted for the case last year? So,
same questions we have. And he also, because Sinner had sent me the first video that this reporter had done. I saw another one that he had done that actually is entirely on the question, would Oscar still be alive? And I don't doubt that he would be. It makes you wonder why they didn't have the evidence then, but all of a sudden they have the evidence now.
So far, we don't have a clear answer, but we do have some new information. The DA's office has told us the case was under investigation that whole time. Also today, the newly sworn in U.S. Attorney in Los.
So for over 2 years, What was the date on that again? Yeah, December 2022. So for over 2 years, it was still being investigated, but it just suddenly had. That makes no sense to me.
Los Angeles sent out a statement that says this murder was avoidable, and he says happened as the result of failed border policies, amplifying some other unconfirmed reports that Garcia Aquino was in the U.S. illegally.
And I disagree with that. I mean, he was here undocumented illegally, but there are people who are here legally that do the same nasty stuff. So my main thing is, why did it take over 2 years to charge him for something he did in 2022? Why did it take Oscar dying to hold Aquino on those unrelated charges? It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
That's the latest in here in the newsroom. I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you.
All right, Eric, thank you very much for that.
Makes me so mad. All right, so one more quick video on this Aquino character. And the title of this is Police Getting Calls with New Information About Soccer Coach Accused of Murder. And then we'll look at the criminal complaint, which isn't very long.
Prosecutors have filed another sexual assault charge against the soccer coach already accused of murdering a 13-year-old boy. Good evening once again, everybody. I'm Michael Brownlee.
And I'm Colleen Williams. That coach made his first appearance in court this afternoon.
Mario Edgardo Garcia.
The judge in LA Superior Court agreed to postpone arraignment for 43-year-old Mario Edgardo Garcia Aquino. The judge ordered him not to have any contact with the victims in the case, which shouldn't be a problem, as he's being held in jail with no chance at bail. He was charged yesterday with the murder.
Why did they only show the judge? Why didn't they show Aquino? Maybe they will later in this clip, but they kept showing the judge. Why not show him in court?
Of Oscar Omar Hernandez, who was found last week off a road in Oxnard several days after his parents reported him missing. According to the criminal complaint, Hernandez was murdered during the commission of a sex crime. Garcia Aquino was charged last week with a February 2024 sexual assault on a 16-year-old.
Right, Burden, but also they are charging him, though, for the 2022 one. Those were the new charges that were brought yesterday. So he was held because of the February 24. Then he was charged with Oscar's murder. And then they brought new charges from the offense date was December 10th, 2022. So it took them 2 years, well, over 2 years, to now charge him with assault with intent to R a child. It just, I don't know.
Boy. And just today, prosecutors filed an additional sexual assault charge for an attack reported in December 2022 on a 14 or 15-year-old boy. Hernandez's family asking us last night, would Oscar still be alive had those 2 assault cases been filed sooner and Garcia Aquino in jail or prison? According to a new timeline provided by the LA County District Attorney's Office, the 2022 case wasn't presented to prosecutors until August 2023, and not enough evidence had been collected until today in order to bring that case to court.
So what evidence, though? So, okay, they initially presented it in August of 2023, so it was about 6 months later. Well, 8 months later. And they didn't have enough evidence until this case. Maybe DNA? I mean, what? Maybe evidence in the house? Let's see. So it says, after receiving the case from law enforcement, our office initiated a review of the facts and circumstances, requested an interview with the victim, and requested additional forensic testing of evidence. Once all of the testing was complete and we received the final results, and after the profiling interview with the victim, our office initiated the filing process on April 7th, 2025. It says on the 2024 case, the case was initially presented to the DA's office by LASD in May of 2024. After receiving the case from law enforcement, our office initiated a review of the facts and circumstances, conducted an interview of the victim, and requested additional forensic testing of evidence. So possibly DNA? Oh, that's also true. Maybe recordings or pics found on devices in his home. Hey, Zoe, how are you? Thought the one that happened in December was just learned of. Possible. Yeah, according to this, they knew about it since August 2023.
As for the 2024 case, the DA's office says it was under investigation until March 25th of this year, just 3 days before Oscar Hernandez went to visit the soccer coach. Also, the newly sworn U.S. Attorney for Southern...
Wow. So March 25th. Let me just go back to that quick. March 25th, 2025. I don't doubt Oscar would have been alive if they...
For Oscar Hernandez went to visit the soccer coach. Also, the newly sworn U.S. Attorney for Southern California released a statement that said Oscar's murder should never have happened. He said this was an avoidable crime and the result of failed border policies, amplifying other And
I'm not going to get into the whole border thing, but I agree with him that this wouldn't have happened if... I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll make more sense when, we find out what evidence led them to actually filing charges. But
confirmed reports that Garcia Aquino was in the U.S. illegally. Garcia Aquino will now return to court April 30th to enter pleas to all of the charges. Now, during the announcement of the criminal charges yesterday, authorities said they suspected there are other children and teenagers who could also be assault victims. Our law enforcement sources have told us they've already been receiving calls with new information on this case. Reporting live, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you.
So April 30th, I got to make sure I put that in my calendar after the live. All right, so we're going to go over to, quickly, the criminal complaint. It's not very long. And then I have one last video for us to watch, and then we will wrap this up. So, people of the state of California versus Mario Eduardo Garcia Aquino. Birthday, October 24th, 1981. And this is the first amended felony complaint. Count 1, on or about March 28th, 2025, in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of murder, in violation of this penal code section 187A, a felony, was committed by Mario Eduardo Garcia Aquino, who did unlawfully and with malice aforethought murder Oscar Hernandez, a human being. It gets into the penal law. It is further alleged that the murder of Oscar Hernandez was committed by defendant Mario Eduardo Garcia Aquino, while the said defendant was engaged in the commission or attempted commission of the crime of performance of a lewd and lascivious act upon the person of a child under the age of 14 years in violation of Penal Code Section 288. On or about December 10th, 2022, in the county of Los Angeles, the crime of assault with intent to commit a felony in violation of Penal Code Section 220A, a felony, was committed by Mario Eduardo Garcia Aquino, who did unlawfully assault Julian A. with the intent to commit R, sodomy, oral, and a violation of sections of all that penal law. And on or about December 10th, 2022. Oh, wait, that's the same. They have the same page twice. Count 2. Assault. Okay, so assault with intent to commit a felony. This one is the crime of lewd act upon a child age 14 or 15, was committed by Mario Eduardo Garcia, who did willfully, unlawfully, and lewdly commit a lewd and lascivious act upon and with the body and certain parts and members thereof of Julian A., who was 14 years old, okay, with the intent of doing all those bad things, who was at least 10 years older than Julian. It says conviction of this offense will require the defendant to provide DNA samples and print impressions pursuant to Penal Code Sections 296 and 296.1. Willful refusal to provide the samples and impressions is a crime. All right, and then it just gets more into the penal code. And then district attorney signed it. So I have not been able to find the affidavit. But I'm very happy to see that he has no bail. That is the way it should be. What is this? Order holding to answer. Okay, so 246 state prison, 123 year state prison. All right, so that's all of that. Yeah, I agree. There's simply too much leniency for SOs. I wonder what the toxicology test will find. I wonder if he impaired him before. Well, and the one thing I'm really interested in knowing is they had said in the one news report that Oscar was found like grasping a bottle. And so that would tell me, we had discussed this the other day that, this Mario staged it because remember, and I think SG was actually the one who said this, that in the one time that Oscar's family spoke to Mario, he had, or no, scratch that. The brother had said he got text messages allegedly from Oscar saying he was going to a party. And his brother told him no. Well, apparently he went anyways. Well, that's what they thought. So someone had said in chat that maybe he did that. He staged it that way because, Oscar, who I really think was Mario texting, said he was going to a party. So it would look like, oh, he drank too much or whatever. Vernon says, even those who are convicted of such crimes, they are given plea deals. Yeah. So they no longer would need to register. Hey, Truth Seeker, how's it going? All right, so we have one last video, and this one is a complete 180. So I will definitely be following this case. And I hope that Oscar gets the, justice he deserves. So this last story, I'm not sure how I feel about this, but scientists have been able to bring back the dire wolf after 13,000 years. of being extinct. And so the question, actually, I think in this news clip, the one question they ask is, are woolly mammoths next? Saber-toothed tigers? But I thought this was a good story to end with because, one, he's super cute, and two, science is just, I mean, I'll never understand it because I just don't have a science mind. But I mean, the fact that they can bring an animal back from extinction is amazing. Oh my God, he's so sweet. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry, y'all. Here I'm watching the dire wolf all by myself. All right. Thank you for that. Jeez Louise. You're hearing me say, oh, he's so cute. He's so cute. There's nothing cute on the thing. Okay, here we go. My bad.
We turn now to that remarkable scientific breakthrough. 13,000 years after the last dire wolf walked the earth, scientists say they've now brought them back. Here's our chief national correspondent back up and with the video tonight.
Tonight, a howl 13,000 years in the making. In a first for science, biotech company Colossal Biosciences says it brought the extinct direwolf back to life, a species that hasn't walked the earth since the Stone Age.
The direwolf is the first de-extinct species.
Well known from HBO's hit show Game of Thrones, ABC News given
God, they're so cute. They almost look like polar bears. They're so, oh my God, he's so fuzzy. So sweet. Reminds you of Pet Cemetery.
exclusive access into Colossal's lab in Dallas, where scientists are using genes from gray wolves to create dire wolves.
We've taken a gray wolf genome, a gray wolf cell, which is already genetically 99.5% identical to dire wolves, and we've edited those cells at multiple places in its DNA sequence to contain the dire wolf version of the DNA. That animal looks like a dire wolf, it will behave like a dire wolf, and it is a dire wolf.
Now 7 months old,
Oh my God. Let me go back a little bit. That was, so, oh my God, I can't. That face. Oh my God.
Sold dire wolves Romulus and Remus eating well and getting bigger every day.
And David, the company tells us they're not stopping there. They plan to have woolly mammoths roaming the earth again by 2028. But critics argue that this de-extinction could harm fragile ecosystems.
Well, and the other thing I'm thinking is, it's not the same as it was. Like, Earth is not the same as it was 13,000 years ago. So to bring back these, extinct species, I'm sure that they would adapt. But like he said, they could harm fragile ecosystems. Or bringing back the woolly mammoth. I mean, where would you put them? I mean, I guess you could, Montana, ranges out there, but yeah.
David, yeah, the images are really something, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they're genetically, like that scientist said, if they are genetically dire wolves, they'll act like dire wolves. They are dire wolves. I mean, sure, when they're young, they're cute and, fuzzy and sweet, but what happens when they get bigger and they start acting like the dire wolves they are? I mean, right? Didn't they learn anything from Jurassic Park? Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, so many animals, you know, are they going to bring back dinosaurs next? I mean, wouldn't that be something to have dinosaurs roam the earth again? Craziness. So, thanks everyone for being here. I do appreciate it, especially on short notice. I'm going to keep on making my shorts. If you haven't checked out my shorts, please do so. I especially do them with stories that don't necessarily warrant an entire live, but that I find important. So definitely check them out. If you haven't liked this live, please do so on your way out. If you're watching the replay, #replay, and you will be directed over to Sinners Live. So if I don't see you there, I will see you on the flip side.
You have one shot on stage, what you got to play? Generic drops for days, still the people rage. Am I not insane? Can you stop and explain why these drops are so lame? Is money buying you fame? I'm fucking on, I'm killing it with this song. You haters can sing along or go back where you belong. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with giving up, moving on. Cause I took your girl to prom, she can't help but sing this song. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out. And my high progress, I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out. And my high progress, I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. She's so gone like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want that body bad, come on baby, bring it back. I'm so gone, faded off a 30 rack. She's so gone like a light switch, flirting back. There's nothing wrong with the way that she's working that. I just want that body bad, come on baby, bring it back. I rap with a passion, yeah, I got it in me. I've been waiting quite a long time for y'all to hear me. It's about damn time you put some stock into me. You're either sponsoring me or fucking bothering me. And the fact is, we just practice on this madness. That is why your status is like a canvas. Chances our advancement is enhancing, and this new expansion's like a mansion. Comes off till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out. And my high progress, I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse. Till the roof comes off, till the lights go out, till my legs give out, can't shut my mouth, till the smoke clears out. And my high progress, I'ma rip this shit till my bones collapse.